Okay, today on the workbench we've got this gear robot. It's with collectors more known as the high wheel gear robot. It was made in 1964 by Yoshiya in Japan, and this is the 6-gear version. As you see, you have one gear here and there's 5 more gears here. Not as easy to see from through there as it is through here. So when it's all put together, there are 6 moving gears. It's a wind-up. When you wind it up, you can use the antenna on top to start and stop the toy. It has a flint for sparking. And what else? Walking, sparking, turning gears. That's pretty much it. It was sent to me by its owner because it had a foot that had been mangled. I did not bend this up in any way, shape, or form. I simply took it off the toy. It was this foot, so this outer shell was mangled, kind of to match this. But the owner of this toy also had a spare bottom plate from another toy, I guess a junker. So I was able to use that and then rebend this outer to fit. And of course, in order to get to that point to work on that, you have to completely disassemble the toy. I've already put some of it back together just so I could hold it without parts falling apart. But basically you take this cosmetic back plate off, there's some bent tabs in there, and then you can get to the tabs that actually hold the gearbox in place. Remove that. Once you've got that out, then you've got these shafts. I need to get this whole leg assembly off that have been crimped, and there's little washers that right up against the crimps. You got to grind those down so you can get the parts off. Once you get the parts off and fix everything and put it back on, you drop some washers on there and then put some solder beads to keep the washers from falling off, and it's as good as the crimp. But I needed to get it completely apart so that, 1, I could get in there to replace this heel plate, and 2, so I could fix the leg linkage, which in that mangled foot was all bent up also, and get that all straightened around and put back together. Okay, also went through and then lubricated the ends of all of the little axle shafts so they would run a little smoother. The flint, here's the original flint arm and wheel. As you can see, there's a hole where the flint should have been. So the flint was not only worn out but gone. And then the on-off lever, which is this antenna, the way this works is there's 2 pieces of rubber. See if I can get some of this up here in my hand. Maybe you can see some of this. It's kind of falling apart because it's, what, 61 years old? This all kind of fit in here. So the tall antenna shaft that you saw me pulling up and down on would come down through that slot and then go into this green piece of rubber, which is supposed to fit snugly on that shaft, so if you pull it up or down it'll stay that way. Then on this side of it, it would go into the next piece of rubber. In this case, this is what's left of the red piece, and then a washer. And when the shaft comes through, then again they would crimp the end, the washers, to hold the crimp from pulling it back. And this pushes up and down on a lever inside the toy on top of the flint wheel. Don't know if you can see it in there, but there is a piece of metal, and when this gets pushed down and the rubber holds it, then that pushes down on the flint wheel, which stops the action. And when you pull up, then it pulls that little piece of metal away from the flint wheel, and then it can run. The flint wheel, of course, I had to clean. I did take a wire brush and clean all the grooves out. And the new flint is from an actual gear robot, a reproduction gear robot. It hasn't started sparking yet. I think the flint needs to wear, and it's got to get the right angle on that wheel. But it is a new flint, and it's a soft flint, so it should work. The robot itself needs the legs to stay separated at the proper distance. Let's get that back end frame. So there's a crotch plate. You can't really hold the crotch plate in place until the body is put back on, because it folds back into the body part. What else? Maybe we can make it run a little bit here. You can see the flint wheel is grabbing, it's just not sparking much yet. I'm hoping it'll get around to it. Normally the body would hit on this piece and kind of keep that from flipping too far up. And then if you were to push down on that antenna, like I just did, that would stop it. And then if you lift up, it'll go again. Without the spacer, there's nothing to keep these from working their way in and binding up the crotch spacer that I just talked about a moment ago. So I kind of need to put that in there before we can really wind it up and play with it much. The body is held on with tabs, and that's always a concern on these old toys, that if they've been bent before, that they might drop off. But we're hoping for the best. Now without a cameraman here, there isn't going to be a whole lot I can probably do and stay in camera. We'll see. I'm going to start by putting these earmuffs in the top and try and catch these top two tabs. And if it can't be done on camera, then we'll just make a second film with a demo in the end. I'm going to partially bend those just so they stay. I'm trying not to bend those tabs and yet get the earmuff on. It's easier said than done. Got one tab, the other tab is fighting me. Let's try and straighten those just a little bit more. Still fighting me. There we go. There we go. Put that in place. Let's just give those a little bit of a spread so I know it won't pop off. Here we go. Now maybe I'll catch a couple of these bottom ones and we might be able to get the crotch plate on there. As you can see, there's this little piece of metal that I just put around there. Then I need to spread those two tabs, the one that was on the front and the one that's on the back. I want to spread them just enough. I don't want to bend things all the way over quite yet, because if there's something wrong and I have to take it apart, it might cause the tabs to break. So you don't ever want to bend them more than necessary until you're 100% sure everything's go. Get that one on there. So you can see I've just given them just a partial twist everywhere, just so things won't fly apart. At this point, we'll try to put that crotch piece in, if possible, because that's what aligns the legs. And you do have to have a prowl or something pointy. Drill bit, a piece of stiff wire, an Allen wrench, anything that you might have around that would allow you to reach up through a slot that they provide and bend that so that crotch will stay in place. Now that should keep the legs in proper alignment with the mechanics. Pretty good. Okay, I do expect the flint to eventually start sparking, because it is the proper flint, it is the proper part, and the flint wheel was cleaned. Haven't seen it yet. I never really liked these kind of paddle wheel gears. They they tend to jam up and cause jerking and everything, but maybe that's part of the beauty of the toy. Guess that's about it. Let's wind it up again. Go for a side profile. You can see it's not a bad walker. Let's try the on-off switch. I'll push down and it stopped. You pull up and it goes. So, whether it ever sparks again or not, that really isn't why it was sent here. There's the foot repair, leg linkage, on-off switch, all the good stuff going. I'll go ahead and put the other little pieces on there in case you're wondering what they look like. They're stuck on a magnet here so you can see them if the camera focuses. See, there's one there, there's one there. I'll put those on there and bend those tabs, and that'll basically have this guy all back together.